Hey, and welcome to this tutorial, the first in a 4-part series taking you through the modeling, unwrapping, and texturing of this asset. The knife itself is a $120 if you wanted to search and find some references, or if you prefer you can join my Patreon to gain access to the Maya files and the reference images I use if you would prefer to follow along with those. There's also early access for the rest of this tutorial series if you want to jump ahead. So without further ado, let's get started. Originally, I modeled everything as one complete component, but that's a little bit more complex from both a modeling and a UV unwrapping perspective, so I've broken it down into the blade and the handle, which I guess is also more true to the real life object, as that's how it's constructed. Check out our video on when to split up your 3D models for more information on that. Reference is always key when modeling, whether it's something based on true life or something based on a made up concept. If you're following along, you're going to want to find a photo of the knife as side on as possible. And let's just go ahead and add our reference to the top view. Just scale it up a little, and we can just change its display mode to looking through the camera. To begin with, let's go ahead and just model the blade. Because of these angles here, it's going to be a little bit tricky, but as long as we think ahead topology wise, all should be fine and dandy. First of all, let's go ahead and create a plane, which is somewhat the width and the length that we want the blade. Just thinking of the overall shape, using the multi-cut tool, we can add some edges where we know the flow is going to change. So one here, here, and just one here. Doing this helps me visualize the space in between the edges to keep things even, so we can now go ahead and add some more edges in to keep everything nicely spaced. Going into vertex mode now, we can just go ahead and move the verts to follow the shape, like so. I will just go ahead and add more edges here. I know we're going to need one here to hold this hard shape, and I'll add another just to the edge to get a nicer curve. Move these up. Lovely stuff. Before we go ahead and extrude some thickness to our blade, let's just plan ahead and work out the topology we need for the blade moving forwards. Add an edge loop in the middle here. It's pretty wonky, so let's just straighten it up. Selecting these verts, we can just scale on the Z axis. Just change the position slightly. And we can just manually go in and fix this chisel here. Something I am noticing is that we might need some more additional topology here and here, as the curved angle is a little bit more extreme than what we have. So using the multi-cut tool, just add an edge here, here, and here. And now we can go ahead and make some more fine adjustments. We do need another edge running through here. With the multi-cut tool, we can actually just add this manually, starting at this vertex here, and we just click in the points, like so. For the time being, I'm not going to worry about this pill shape, but I will just go ahead and amend what's going on at the pointy end. Just bring these verts a little closer together, shape it a little bit nicer. Cool, right. So now we should probably go into face mode and selecting all the faces we want to extrude, so all the ones we want to be flat. I'm just going to use tab to paint selection. Hop into perspective mode just for a little bit of an easier view, and use Ctrl+E on the keyboard to extrude. Probably something like this. Obviously, a knife doesn't have angles like this. So now using the world tool in vertex mode, we can just move up these points like so. And when we get to this part of the blade, we can just weld like so. But then we get this weird face, which we can delete. And in edge mode, we can select both of these edges and we can just bridge them. Just come around this side. Notice how we get this weird dip. We just want to change this manually in vertex mode. Just bring it up a little bit. Nice. Okay, right, so now if we go ahead and press 3 for smooth preview on the keyboard, we don't quite get the effect we want. We need to add some more supporting edges. You might have guessed it, using the multi-cut tool, let's do just that. Add an edge running through here. Because of this triangle here, it's going to just stop. So what we can actually do is just manually continue it through there. And then just add it like so. And then just connect up the edge here. It's going to come together over here like this, which isn't great, but we'll just sort that out later. Another edge we're going to want to support is this edge here. So what we can do is add another edge loop with the multi-cut tool. It's going to come around here and end just there. But what we can do is just reroute it to continue supporting the edge we need it to. Simply by adding an edge like so. And just deleting this part here. Okay, nice. So you can see we're starting to get some more defined edges, just like we want. Swiftly moving on, let's go ahead and create a nice crease for this edge. Notice how when we try to add an edge, it's now going on a crazy journey around our model. It's only because of this face here, and what I'm going to do is just manually force it the direction I want it to go. Just by manually drawing in my edges across this face. And then we can just join it up. Something like this. Okay, looking good. For this other edge loop, I'm just going to start the other end. And to make this a little tidier, I'm just going to manually route the topology. Add in an edge like this. Click in here and down to here. And we can just connect it up like so. So we have a nice flow just there. And now we can add the edge continuing and connect it up to this n-gon. And we can do the same for this edge. Fixing the n-gon. Just adjust a little. Nice. And now we can do a similar thing for this part of the blade. Just connect up these edges. Cool. At the very point we have all these edges, I think what we can do is just spread them out a little. Using Ctrl plus Shift, we can slide them and space them out a little bit more evenly. And let's just add an edge like so to hold this point better once smoothed. And one more just here near the end. That should do it. The base of the blade is almost finished now. Down this end towards the handle, it's a little bit soft still. So I think we're just going to want to add some more edges. Here. And here. And just one at the very end. And maybe one here. And you also might just need to use Edit Edge Flow, which you can get to by holding Shift and the right click. and then going down to edit edge flow, and this should fix this creasing. Right, so this is looking pretty nice. I think it's time to add the pill shape. So we could go ahead and subdivide to add some more resolution to work with, but I'm going to try and avoid needing to do that, as it also adds a bunch of edges which won't be helpful and only makes our mesh denser. I think all we need to do is add one more additional edge, and we have a triangle here, so adding this edge will also turn this face into a quad, which is a win-win. So with the multi-cut tool, clicking with the middle mouse button will add the edge directly in the middle. We can just fix this up a little. Next, let's go ahead and create a sphere. And I'm just going to change the subdivisions to 8 by 8. Selecting this edge, running through the middle and beveling it with Ctrl B on the keyboard will allow us to move this edge down to the other end. Okay, so now you've done that, let's just go ahead and move it up so it's centered to the face of the knife. We don't really need it to be quite as deep, so what we can do is holding D plus V on the keyboard, we can just snap the vertex on the y-axis to the probably this edge. And now holding V on the keyboard, we can now snap it to the knife. Perfect. Selecting the blade first and then our pill mesh, hold Shift and the right click button. Go down to Booleans, Difference, and this will give us the cutout which we can now clean up and work with. Firstly, using the target weld tool, we can connect up the middle edge, running through on this side, and also over here on the other side. And I'll just connect up these edges to these points. And on the other side, I'll just add an edge like so. And connect them to it like that. We have some edges which are super close to each other, so what I'm going to do is just connect them up and weld them as needed. For example, this point here, if I draw in an edge and connect it up, I still need to merge these verts. It's going to be the same for a lot of these new edges. We do get a triangle here, but I'm not too worried about that. Just going to connect that up. And this end. A little bit of this manually as it's more precise. And these need to be merged. And next, we should just connect these edges running through the middle. Also, kind of note that you might also have slightly different topology as me, so you might find you need to approach this slightly differently. I think I would just merge these here. And use G on the keyboard just to repeat that. And again, G, just to repeat. Selecting the entire edge running around the top. Make sure you get all the bits down here as well. Just use Ctrl B, and that will create a nice bevel, and we can just change the fraction a little and set the segments to 2. Nice, but now looking at things, I think we just need to merge some more verts. I'm just going to use the target weld tool this time. Just do these ones here. Lovely stuff. And I think I'll add an edge just here to help with the stretching. Just have a little look, and our blade is done. Well, besides mirroring it all, so go ahead and select the mesh. Use Shift and right click and just go down to mirror. I just need to change the mirror axis to Y. And there we are. There you have it. We're done. Let's go ahead and start the handle. But before we do, if you're enjoying this tutorial, be sure to hit the subscribe button. It genuinely means the world to me. Also, be sure to leave a comment if you wish for a part 2, where we could cover the UV unwrapping and texturing of this model. Right, so to begin with, just go ahead and create a cube and just scale it into the dimensions we want. And I will just snap it to the halfway point of our blade, which we can do so by holding V on the keyboard. Just going to scale it a little bit more. I am guesstimating this, but I think something like this will work well. But looking at it right now, it is a bit boxy. So what we can actually do is just select these 4 edges at the corners and bevel them, which you can do so by using Ctrl+B on the keyboard. I'm just going to give it 2 segments and increase the fraction a little. I'm just trying to match the curve on the reference. Selecting this face in scale mode and holding Shift, just extrude a little inset like so. Creates a nice little holding edge, and we can just fix the end on with the multi-cut tool, something like this. Connect these, and just finish up by doing the same over here. We can just go ahead and add 2 more supporting edges here and here. And that's this part of the handle done and dusted. I'm just going to scooch it over a little bit. And now it's just for the handle part, which can be a little tricky, but with a little work, it's not too bad. So looking at the reference, the width of the handle is from here to here. So what we're going to want to do is just add an edge loop here and here on either side. Before we do any extruding, let's go ahead and just connect up some of these edges. Probably this one and this one. These should help us in just a moment when we're adding some roundness. In face mode, just go ahead and select all these faces that we want to be the grip and extrude them out the length of the handle. Using the multi-cut tool and adding some more edge loops, we can start forming these finger dimples. So in vertex mode, we can start to move these into place. And just adding a few more loops, we can start to form the end shape. Like so. And also we can just move these top verts into place. Something I find helpful is to keep on switching between 3 and 1, so smooth preview mode, and this way we can ensure the shape is correct once subdivided, and we can make some final adjustments. Okay, so this is looking quite box-like, so let's just go ahead and make a more comfortable shape. Just select all these 4 edges. We don't want the ones at the back end. And doing this, we can just scale them to create a more round shape. And we can just manually move these ones at the end to to round that off nicely. You might just need to make some more final adjustments. I will just even out the spacing a little bit. Cool, so yeah, this is looking something more like the grip in the reference. It will possibly be a good idea to add an edge running through the middle, just to make things a bit more evenly spread out. And another here, just to hold this detail better. Check the reference one final time, just to ensure it's not shrunk or moved out of shape. I'm just going to make some final tweaks, like that. Okay, nice, perfect. So now we've done that, I might just add a little bit more plumpness to match the actual blade. Just going to use soft select in edge mode and just scale it up a little. Okay. Oh yeah, these hang-ons. Just zoom in here and using the multi-cut tool, let's just finally fix these. Just add an edge here. And adding an edge here will fix that. Quite simple. Also, what I might do is just adjust these edges here so that we don't get this like Z shape happening. Those ones. And scale. Actually, we will probably need more of the edge loop. Select the whole edge apart from the angled one. And we can just scale it to make it a little bit less stretched. Just fix this bit here. And with that little adjustment, I think we can call this done. If you have been following along, please share your current results over on Discord. It will be fun to see everyone's progress as these videos come out. With that, thanks for watching. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, hit that like and subscribe buttons. Come chat with me on the Discord, and I'll see you next week for part 2.